Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers analysis, and we're ready to preview Week 2 of the 2021 regular season as the Steelers will play their home opener this Sunday, tomorrow afternoon, in front of a crowd for the first time in quite some time at Heinz Field. You know, that place will be rocking and rolling. The Las Vegas Raiders coming to town. Both teams 1-0, big victories in Week 1, Pittsburgh over Buffalo. The Raiders a wonky, wild overtime victory against the Ravens. Let's talk about this matchup. Just going to go through some things to watch for here briefly. The Raiders offense, it's a different probably version than it would be ideally for them without Josh Jacobs, a starting running back, and offensive line that's certainly hurting. They're down to their second string right guard. They've had injuries there at left guard as well, losing Richie Incognito, and so John Simpson will be the left guard, and Jermaine Illuminor will be the right guard. So they're going to have to throw more than probably what John Gruden would like to do ideally, but to their benefit and to their credit, they have a ton of weapons to throw to. And of course, when you talk about the Raiders' offense and their weapons, the number one guy to watch is number 83, Darren Waller, their tight end, but he's certainly much more than just that. To me, I think he's the most dynamic tight end in football, even more so than the George Kittles and Travis Kelce's and guys like that, just because he's such a athletic freak in nature vertically while having the size of a guy like Kelsey, maybe a little bit skinnier in terms of the weight, but certainly a big body that's extremely difficult to contest with. And they're going to pepper this guy with targets. He had 19 targets against the Ravens in week 1. That's the most targets by a tight end since 2012 in the entire NFL. Went 10, a buck 5, and a touchdown against Baltimore, and could have had better numbers, had a couple of drops in that one. So the thing with Waller is he's not a static player. He'll line up backside X, he'll line up in the slot, number 3 receiver, he'll line up in bunch sets, and they'll get some free releases with him that way. He'll run a good portion of the route tree, maybe not a ton of stuff vertically, seam balls, but he'll run double moves and option routes and leverage routes and benders and things like that. So it's a lot to handle, and how the Steelers try to combat and slow him down, not shut him down, but like Stephon Diggs in week 1, slow him down is going to be very critical and key in this game. But even if this team can take away Waller to some extent, there are a lot of weapons on the outside. They got a lot of speed on the outside, like a very classic Al Davis, built Raiders kind of philosophy going on here with Henry Ruggs and Brian Edwards. Edwards came on strong late in that game against Baltimore. All 4 of his receptions for 81 yards came in the last 37 seconds of the fourth quarter or in overtime. Ruggs made some big plays. Hunter Renfro's are really nuanced and maybe one of the better, I don't want to say best, but up there route runners in football. Some of the stuff he does is really unique in terms of stems and releases. And so if Trey Norwood, for example, is seeing a lot of Hunter Renfro, that's going to be a difficult challenge for him. So as much as we talk about the big playability of Waller and Ruggs and Edwards and guys like that, watch out for Hunter Renfro, kind of death by a thousand paper cuts in terms of those option routes, underneath routes, and things like that that could really do damage in this game. For Pittsburgh, much like the Bills game, the Raiders probably going to spread things out, throw the ball quite a bit in this one, and so can the Steelers pass rush get home? I imagine they're going to be a little more aggressive and blitz happy and throw some more looks at the Raiders than what they did against Buffalo to really test that offensive line that has some new pieces and injuries. And I thought the Raiders had issues with stunt pickup and blitz pickup last week against Baltimore, so I think you'll see Pittsburgh be a little more creative. But if teams are going to spread you out and throw the ball a lot, it is going to be harder to blitz again. So you might not see normal levels. The 35-40% blitz rate that you usually get under a Keith Butler, Mike Tomlin ran defense, but I think you'll see more aggression and a little more there with the Steelers defense trying to attack and really confuse and cause chaos along that Raiders offensive line. When you think about the Raiders defense, they're a well coached team, starting with that pass rush. Max Crosby, as you guys saw, 2 sacks against Villanueva last week, but they got other guys as well. Ngakwe's always kind of been more of a pure pass rusher, but you think they both run the ball hard, him and Max Crosby, and chase the ball and get after the quarterback a bit. Carl Nassib, and they got a guy, Malcolm Kuntz from Buffalo, who I like quite a bit coming out of this year's draft, and some interior guys like Hankins, who's a big plugger in the middle. So they have some injuries there as well. They lost Jared McCoy for the season, some issues at linebacker potentially, but I think it is kind of a solid and sound front overall, and certainly a pass rush that can get after the quarterback. Defensively, Gus Bradley, the DC there, plays a lot of 3 deep structure. It's a lot of cover 3, some cover 1, and so you really won't have the middle of the field available to Ben and the Steelers offense, in terms of the post routes and deep digs and things like that. But that kind of plays into the Steelers' hand anyway, because they don't do a ton of that to begin with. It's going to be a lot of vertical shots on the outside. So I think for Ben, his thing's always been against single high, taking the one-on-one opportunity with the receiver cornerback to either side wherever the safety's not moving to. So I think you're going to see a lot of 50-50 balls and letting Claypool win right sideline, letting Deontay Johnson win left sideline. So against that single high structure the Raiders seem to be pretty attached to, at least they were against Baltimore. We'll see how things can be against Pittsburgh. I think you'll attack them vertically outside the numbers as opposed to the middle of the field. And certainly, you want to see the Steelers get the run game better than they did against the Buffalo Bills. Najee Harris has had a fine, outing. The offensive line was a good place to start in terms of nothing catastrophic, nothing disastrous, but it certainly has to be better. With their performance in Week One cannot be the standard going forward, and you hope to see continued improvement. Now, it won't be always easy because you're going to see a lot of eight-man fronts. You're going to see Jonathan Abram, a first-round pick, a really hard-hitting, strong safety, play in the box quite a bit, and I don't think the Raiders are too terrible against the run. I mean, the Ravens ran on them a decent amount, but I think they are still a sound team overall. I do think they are a little aggressive though. When they see pullers and they see some of these keys and stuff like that, they're a very fast flow type of defense. So maybe some of the window dressing that Matt Canada has proven and shown in preseason and camp and his college stops can get some of these Raiders guys out of position. They did miss 10 tackles last week, which is the most of any team in football. So maybe you can get some yak opportunities and primarily the run game. I think with Najee Harris, and so hopefully getting a better run game, getting more rhythm and flow in your drives, not having to stall out the way it did against Buffalo is going to be key in this one. But certainly you want to run more and more effectively and more efficiently than you did against the Buffalo Bills. So all of that is to say this, my prediction in this one, I think it's gonna be closer than people think. Jen, we've been down this road before with Raiders games. Oh, they'll beat the Raiders. It's not a concern, things like that, and it hasn't happened in the past. And this is a much better version of this Raiders team than we've seen in years past. And so I have it as a close game. I got Pittsburgh winning this one, 26-24, but I think it will be close. The Raiders are not going to go away quietly. They can get big plays in the pass game, but ultimately, I think again, like the Bills game proved the Steelers pass rush, ability to get home, get to the quarterback, and make some of those big impact plays and turnovers and sacks and third and longs and things like that, and all the things that come with pressure will win out in this one. But you need to see the Steelers offense get better. There's no question about that. But the defense for Pittsburgh looked incredible against the top tier offense in Buffalo, and the Raiders maybe not quite at that level. But I don't want to assume anything either because I think they have a good team, and it would not be the biggest shock in the world if they won this game. So those are my thoughts on tomorrow's game against the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll of course be back to recap it Sunday evening, night dish sometime, depending on when I get around to the video, and of course do a recap on the game itself as well and analysis throughout the week. So let me know your thoughts on this game. Let me know who you think will win. Will Pittsburgh move to 2-0, or will they be upset at home at Heinz Field? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you soon.